Hello, everybody. Don't forget my light. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just Upright. Doc Jing here, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Certified Dementia Practitioner. Thank you all for watching and thank you for being here. So, tonight, we have some topics that we're going to talk about. First, I'm very excited that come February 1st, okay, 2022, guys, this will be the release of the course, How to Apply as a Physical Therapist to the U.S., okay? So it took a lot of work here, guys, to be able to do this course. So I'm very excited that this is out now. It will be out soon, next week. So I'm very excited that this will be made available. So these are collection of my videos that I have released, but I actually took time to delete the introduction and the distractions, the end part of the video, and just extracted the main topic of the video. And each video was organized in good order and flow in order to help bring clarity on what steps our colleagues, our foreign trained physical therapists need to go through in order to apply here to the US, okay? Applying to the US is really a very daunting task. It's very hard, and it's it will help a lot if we know what we're doing and what are the things ahead of us, okay, in order for you to not to waste a lot of money, not to waste time, effort, and any other resources just because you don't know what you're doing, and and you're very confused on how to start it and what to do next. Okay, so February 1st will be the first day that this course will be available at justuprighttherapy.com. You hit on courses and it will be there, okay? For a limited period, we are giving this course for a very low price. So you will get like 30, more than 30 video lessons, not counting the bonus videos. And then we have I have exclusive videos for this course that will not be released on YouTube, and have bonus videos not necessarily part of the course, but good information to have. I answered frequently asked questions from foreign trained therapists, and it's in that video. And also part of the package of the course is actually a free ebook of PT Path to US, the updated version of that, okay? So I'm trying out this this software, but I don't know if I can see if someone's gonna ask question or not, if I can see the chat box. So as of now, I cannot see it. But try to type something. If you're here, try to type your name so I can see if you are if you have any other if you have questions, okay? Okay. All right. So as of now, I cannot. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to discuss this. So the FCCPT, okay, some people are asking me questions like, can I take the, can I take the NPTE without credentialing? Okay, or some will ask, can I take the NPTE without TOEFL? Okay, so you have to understand what credentialing is for. Okay, credentialing is the way for the agency like FCCPT to validate whether your education is at the same level of requirement that they have here in the US. So they're going to study your course description, your syllabi, okay? Those are some of the documents that you have to request from your school to submit to FCCPT in order for FCCPT to verify your level of education. What are the subjects that you took and how many hours, okay, the curriculum that you took, in order for them to say whether you have deficiency in your subjects or you have you have other topics or subjects that you need to take in order for you to qualify to the current requirement of FCCPT, okay, or FSBPT. So if they cannot validate that your level of education, then they cannot let you take the board examination. Okay, so for foreign trained therapists, it is critical to have credentialing done. Okay, so that's why the first part of my step-by-step process is, first you have to identify the state where you want to practice, okay? Because each state in the US have different requirements, okay? So you cannot just pick like, oh, I want to go with FCCPT, or I want to go with CGFNS or ICD. But if your state, for example, just for example, New York, if New York just wants FCCPT and you applied on with ICD or CGFNS, then you just wasted your money, okay? So, but New York, I think, accepts both FCCPT and or CGFNS, okay? So it is very important that you know what agency your state, your target state, is accepting, because that will really determine or affect the processing later on, okay? So it is very important to have to be clear that credentialing is needed before you can take the NPTE. You cannot get away if you're foreign trained, okay, to take NPTE without credentialing. So this is directly lifted up from FCCPT. So FCCPT provides educational credentials reviews for physical therapists or PTs and PTAs using the PT or PTA coursework tool, evaluation tool, or CWT, which have been validated against the CAPT accreditation requirements for PT and PTA education. So when you say CAPT, it means Commission on Accreditation of Physical Therapy Education. Okay, they grant accreditation status to qualified entry-level education programs for physical therapists and physical therapist assistants. CAPT accredits educational programs in the US and selected programs around the world. So in order to apply for licensure as a PT or PTA in the US, jurisdictional authorities or the state authorities require that applicants are graduates of CAPT accredited PT or PTA educational programs. Applicants who graduated from education programs that are not CAPT accredited must have their educational credentials reviewed by approved credentialing agencies such as FCCPT. Okay? So the purpose of educational credentials review is to determine the equivalence of the education of foreign educated physical therapists compared to the U.S. graduates of accredited physical therapy education programs. Okay, so I hope that is clear. That you need to have credentialing. Okay, not just credentialing. That credentialing is just one of the requirements before you can take the NPTE. So that is very important why you have to understand the whole process. So in the course, I will walk you through step-by-step process from start till end. Okay, from choosing, it will start with choosing the state, and then it will end to things that you have to know about visa, about your contract, about your employment. Okay, so this is a wealth of information that will be available to you, should you opt to get the course, because it's really tons of hours of research, tons of hours of shooting the video, presenting the video, editing the video. Took a lot of work before this course come into being. Okay, so it's a very well done project, that really the aim of the course is to help foreign trained therapists navigate through the path of application, make it easier for you. So yes, you're going to pay for the course, but believe me, you will save a lot of money from trying to figure things out on your own. Okay, so I have done it myself. The reason why I'm making the course available is that because when I was starting, I did not know what I was doing. No one was mentoring me, no one was guiding me. So it ended up that I lost excuse me. So it ended up my certification, my visa screen certificate expired, and I'm still in the Philippines. I had to renew it. My TOEFL, I needed to retake the TOEFL, and I have to pay for it again. So a lot of time, a lot of wasted money, because I was lost in the process. So if you know what to do and how to do it, where to go, what to use, what agency, it will be a lot better and smoother process for you. It took me 9 long years before I came here, before I was able to practice here in the US. So I'm hoping that with the course, it will not be that long for you. So, and besides, employers prefer to petition those with license already. Okay, so if you process your application and you successfully was able to pass the NPTE, you have the license, it is easier for the employer or agency to petition you because you are ready to go. All you need is a working or an immigrant visa. Okay, so that's the advantage if you want to process your license on your own. The disadvantage of waiting for an employer to sponsor you, to process your credentialing, to process your TOEFL, to process your NPTE, is that they're gonna spend money on you. So you are really bound to that agency. Okay, so you're really tied to that agency because they spent money on you. So um, so there are some, in the contract, you have to read your contract. So once they spend money on you and you want to, of course, want to transfer to another agency or employer because nothing's happening with the agency you're with, you have to pay them back. Okay, so that is the risk that you're running into if you wait for someone to spend money on you to process these things. Okay, so if you have the capability to process on your own, and you have to, of course, save the receipts, okay, and put it away and save it so that later on, if the agency or the employer will reimburse whatever you spend, that will be good. Okay, you have the receipt with you. Okay, so next, I have other questions. Do I have to take the TOEFL exam? Okay, this is from FAQ of FCCPT, and this is a common question among foreign trained therapists. Okay, so let's see what's the answer of FCCPT. In general, only those who need a healthcare worker certificate, this is formerly known as visa screen certificate, to obtain a visa or work permit are required to pass the English language proficiency examination. Individuals who are in the U.S. on a dependent or spouse visa or have citizenship do not need to have healthcare worker certificate and therefore not required to take and pass the TOEFL examination. So, with that being said, that is from FCCPT, okay? Healthcare worker certificate is required for processing of a working visa or an immigrant visa, okay? But word of caution is that you always have to go to the state of your choice, okay? You always have to go to their website and see if they require you to have TOEFL before taking the NPTE. Sometimes there are some states like that, okay? So you cannot take the NPTE without the TOEFL. They might have changed that, but it is always best to double check with the state, okay, and see the list of requirements. For New York, certainly you can take the NPTE without the TOEFL, okay? So, but it is clear that if you are a foreign trained and you don't have any immigrant visa or you're not a U.S. citizen, you really have to take TOEFL because that will be used not for NPTE if the state doesn't require you. TOEFL will be used for a prerequisite to apply for a working or an immigrant visa. Okay, so before years ago, you don't need to take TOEFL. It was not a requirement, but because of miscommunication between foreign trained and the natives here, they made it a law or a requirement that before you can come here, you can speak in English, you can talk in English, you can communicate in English, you can write English, okay? So that the miscommunication between the patient and the clinician will be lesser. And so, the lesser the level of liability. Okay, so that's why we need to undergo the TOEFL if English is not your primary language. So you can go to FCCPT. They have exceptions also on from what countries you're accepted from taking the TOEFL. If you're from Asian country like the Philippines, we're not exempted unless you're a U.S. citizen or immigrant. But again, the best thing to do is to go to the website of the state of your choice and double check what are their requirements, okay? But if your concern is the healthcare worker certificate for a working visa or an immigrant visa, it is really needed. TOEFL is really needed for that before FCCPT or CGFNS can release you a healthcare worker certificate. TOEFL is really needed, okay? Next, eligibility letter. What do you mean by eligibility letter? So eligible means having the right to do or obtain something, satisfying the appropriate conditions. Okay? So the eligibility letter, it will be coming from the state where you apply. Okay? So for example, I applied in New York, and then I submitted all the requirements that the New York is asking me to submit from me and from my school or from the licensing authority of my country, and everything was submitted to them, and then I paid the fee. I did the credentialing. I completed the credentialing. So after all the requirements are satisfied, they can issue eligibility letter. Okay? So that is just a go signal that, hey, you're good to go to take the exam. Okay? So eligibility letter will be coming from the state, and then they will submit that or pass that to FSBPT. Okay? And then once the FSBPT receive your go signal to take the exam, they will email you the authorization to test. Okay? So the authorization to test is the last piece of paper that you need, and that is very important because that's what you're going to show to the consul for your U.S. visa, tourist visa interview, to prove to them that you're going to the U.S. To take the examination. Okay, so that is what we call ATT. Okay, so eligibility letter will not be given to you if first you did not apply to the state. Okay, so you have to apply to the state where you want to practice. You have to submit all the documents. You have to have credentialing, and most of the states, if not all, require that like the transcript of records or FCCPT. I'm sorry, FCCPT require that like the transcript of records, the syllabi, and other supporting documents must be coming directly from school to FCCPT. Okay, so you cannot submit that from your own record. So because that's the way they can validate, verify the authenticity of the document. So it should not be like a third party sending. It should be coming from the school itself, going to the FCCPT. Okay, so that is for the eligibility letter. Okay, so that is only going to be sent to you if you completed all the requirements by the state, if you paid the fee that the state require you to pay to sit for the NPTE. But the fee for the state is different from the fee that you're going to pay FSBPT to take the exam, to register for the exam. And then you have another fee for Prometric to sit on the examination day, to use their facility, their computer, and whatnot. Okay, so those are separate fees. So it doesn't mean you pay the state. For example, New York, you paid New York, that you're good to go to take the exam. Nope, that is just for the New York State. you have to pay the FSBPT to register for the exam, and then you have to pay the Prometric to sit or, save your spot for the exam and use their facility, their computer, to take the exam. Okay, so there are tons of expenses that you're gonna incur. So that is why it is critical to pass the exam. Just one take, because like foreign trained therapists, there's so many at stake. You know, you have to apply for a tourist visa, which is like $160, I think. Then you have to fly to U.S. territories or the mainland of U.S. to take the exam. And how much is the flight ticket now? $1,200,000. So $1,200, sorry, $1,200 to $1,500, depending on which airline, what day of the year you're going. And then you have to, the examination registration for FSBPT right now is $485. The Prometric is 100 plus. Okay, so really the burden of taking the NPTE is so high. The pressure is so high. If you fail, there's so much money at stake. Okay, so I would suggest that you really do your best to study for NPTE. Don't just jump into it hoping that you're gonna pass without preparation. Enough preparation is really important to pass the NPTE. I've known so many students before when it was unlimited. Right now, there's like 6 lifetime limit that you can take the board examination. And depending on the state, like Florida, after you fail 3 times, you have to take like a refresher course. And then you can only take 2 more times after the refresher course. And if you don't fail, you cannot apply to the state of Florida anymore. Okay? So each state have their own set of rules and regulations. Okay? So whatever is true in New York may not be true in Florida. So you cannot compare your application to your friend if you're applying in different states. Okay? So the NPTE, passing the NPTE is really, really important. Okay? Next one, someone suggested to me to discuss mental health issue. Okay? So guys, I don't know if you're typing question. I'm using this app and I cannot see any questions, anything on the screen right now, that because I haven't really studied the whole thing about this app, so I cannot see if someone's typing question. I'm not trying to ignore you if you're typing questions, but I just couldn't see it on my screen right now. Okay, so maybe if I use the, I study this app, OBS, more, I will be able to see your if you're typing questions. But if not, if you want to ask me questions, you can send it to my email address. My email address is justuprightllc@gmail.com. Okay, because I cannot see any questions right now. I'm using this app because I want to share my screen. If I use the YouTube without the app, I cannot share my screen. But I think the downside of this app, or maybe I just don't know how to use it yet fully, is that I cannot see the questions from you guys. Okay, so just shoot me an email, so I will be able to answer your question as soon as I'm available. Okay, as soon as I see it and I'm off work, then I can answer your question. So someone mentioned about mental health, suggested that topic, the mental health. So the most critical part of healing from any depression, anxiety, or any mental health issue is speaking out and asking for help. Okay, so um, actually, there's okay, so this is like, because you're here and you're watching, so you will hear it first time right now. I'll be releasing my book. It's a new book that I've written. It's a compilation of my writings over the years. Most of it are, few years ago, and some of it are new writings of what happened to me in the past. But it's a compilation of the hardships of me as a foreign trained therapist to go here to the U.S. to apply, and the repeated failure from working visa application or immigrant visa application with agencies and employers as well, of course. So the hardship, and because of the frustration, and it ended up with, I ended up with depression. It's not depression that I'm just sad, it's a clinical depression. It was a clinical depression. So I had to go through that, and my church from the Philippines, Makati Grace International Ministries, they really helped me a lot to go through that process of healing. I went to counseling. I took my medicine. I saw a doctor, a psychologist, took my medicine, went to church, prayed a lot. People prayed for me. And it was really a hard ordeal. And the root of it was because I was not able to go to the U.S. when I want to go. It was not an easy process for me to go here. Some people took less than a year, 2 years. It took me 9 years. So the journey was so hard and it was so long that I ended up, with a lot of frustration. So I had depression then, but through God's grace, and a lot of people helping me. My friend Atinola, she really helped me a lot too. She never let me go. She never gave up on me. So she was there all throughout my journey, and she saw how hard I suffered. But through God's grace, I was healed from that through of course, medical intervention, counseling. It required a lot of work. So, and then when I was here in the U.S. finally, living my dream, I had a wonderful husband. I got pregnant with my first child, my daughter. After I gave birth, I didn't know what's happening. So I was having anxiety, and then I couldn't sleep. Not even a second. I couldn't sleep. And then I had to get up in the morning to take care of a newborn, okay? So it was so hard. I literally can tell you that it's just like a hairline of sanity was left. If I did not have any faith whatsoever. I always say when I share about my depression and anxiety history is that I do not condone people committing suicide or committing murder, killing other people because they were depressed. Of course, I do not approve of that. But I can truly understand if you don't have like the faith, even the slightest faith in you. It can be so dark, so hopeless, so rough, that really unimaginable things can be done by the person. Okay, so there's a lot of like shame and guilt of like having a depression or mental health issue, but truly you have to go over and crash through the guilt and the shame. You really have to speak out. You really have to find a trusted, even just one person, a trusted person, and say, I don't feel good. I don't feel right. You have to speak it to the light, and that is the start of a healing process. You just have to speak out and accept the fact that you're not okay. And to someone you can trust, someone who will pull you up instead of, stepping down on you, pulling you down. So you just need at least one trusted person to say, hey, I need help. And you have to be open to help as they come. The healing cannot be overnight. It can, but for most part, it might take some time, and it takes some work. It takes some humility, to say, okay, I will go to counseling. I will go to, I will take the medication. I don't want to, but my body needs it. So, take the medication, do the counseling, depending on the road that you want to go to recover. Excuse me. So, there are many ways to recover. And it's up to you how you're going to take the road. But I think the first thing is the most important thing, is to speak out, accept the fact that you're not okay, and to ask for help. Okay, whatever help. Because I remember people telling me that, oh, don't worry, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm there during depression, and I was like, I cannot see the light. It's just the darkness. But through God's grace, through those series of depressions that I have had in my life, I was healed. I'm not taking any medication anymore. I'm doing good right now. I've seen like a homeopathic doctor last month, and she was asking me how am I doing with the depression and whatnot, and I said I'm doing good. I'm not taking medication, and she actually advised me to go to counseling, which I was like, I'm doing good. But her point is, when you're not in a crisis, it is best to have someone to prepare you for a crisis. Of course, crisis will come in your life, so that you know how to handle it without reverting to your default. Like me, my default is, if there's a crisis, I overthink about it. What's their word? Catastrophizing, I think. You're just like thinking what will be the worst thing that will happen, and it's just like a defense mechanism to prepare yourself, but most of the time it doesn't happen. So just to have a healthy approach to a situation that rattles you, she's advising to go to counseling, okay, which I think is good, to do. So counseling is not just when you're in a crisis mode, when you're in bad shape, but it's also good to have a better understanding of who you are and how you tackle the situation, how you are as a person, if you are in a crisis, and what is the healthier way to do that. Okay, so so it was, in the book I shared that you know, the crisis I have had with my depression, with my anxiety, and how I got through it through God's grace. Only through God's grace. I won't be speaking to you right now if not for God's grace that I was able to recover. I would not be able to do it on my own. Okay, so I truly understand, and people suffering from anxiety and depression. But I am a living testimony that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You might not see that light yet, but there is. As long as you're extending out your hand for help, and as long as you're open on, taking the steps to recover from that. Okay? So, since I cannot see, I'm hoping that I am able to see your comments, guys, but I can't. I will try to figure this out, so next time I do the live, I will be able to see your comments and if you have questions. But since I cannot do that, so I'm gonna end it here. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for those who join me. Thank you for those who are watching this on replay. Leave your comment. If you're watching this on replay, leave your comment down below. If this was helpful to you, if you have questions, if you have suggestion, okay, video that I should make. So we'll be releasing how to apply to Florida, step-by-step guide. Watch out for that. And again, next week, guys, is the release of my course, How to Apply as Physical Therapist to the U.S. It's a course, guys. It is, it's really, I made this course with you in mind to ease your burden on applying here to the U.S. So firsthand, I know the experience. I know how hard it is. So I'm hoping that with this course, I will be able to lighten up your burden, help you have a smoother process of going here and fulfilling your dream to practice here in the U.S. Okay? Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the channel, supporting the channel. Please follow us on our Facebook, justuprighttherapy.us Facebook page. We have Instagram, okay, the same, justuprighttherapy.us, and we have Just Upright Therapy for TikTok. And of course, this is our YouTube channel, Just Upright. So thank you so much, guys. I'm sorry, my voice a little bit hoarse, a little bit under the weather, but no COVID. Okay, don't worry. So thank you so much. I'll see you at the next video. Thank you for joining me and have a blessed day. Okay?